Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum. How many times have you stood in prayer, your heart feeling heavy, and whispered, Wa Allah, do you even hear me? Why is this so hard? In those moments of silence, when our prayers seem to hit the ceiling and bounce back, Shaitan whispers a dangerous lie. God has abandoned you. This religion is too difficult. This path is too steep. I am here today to tell you with full conviction that is a deception. Allah says in the Quran, so verily with hardship there is ease. Verily with hardship there is ease. Quran 9456 tris. He repeats it for our hearts that are slow to believe. Islam is not hard. It is our perception in the moment of struggle that is hard. Allah's help is not always a thunderous miracle. Sometimes His greatest aid is in the silence, in the subtle shifts He engineers in our lives. Here are 4 hidden signs that Allah is helping you even when you can't see it. It begins with a yearning, a specific image of a future that has taken root in your heart. You have prayed for it, perhaps even made istikhara, and you can see it so clearly in your mind's eye that it feels like a promise. It might be a job offer that seems perfect, a proposal from a person who appears to be everything you ever wanted, a business opportunity that promises to solve all your financial worries. You invest your hope in this outcome. You knock on that door with all the faith you can muster. Your knuckles raw from the effort, your whispers in the depths of the night filled with a desperate plea for it to open. And yet it remains shut. Not just shut, but seemingly bolted closed with no sound from the other side. In that silence, the void is filled with a crushing weight of disappointment. The heart, in its raw and unguarded state, interprets this silence in the only language it knows: rejection. It feels like a divine no, a cold dismissal from a creator who is supposed to be al-Mujib, the responder. This is the moment where the test of faith becomes visceral. It is easy to worship Allah when the doors are swinging open, when the blessings are flowing in a visible, tangible stream. But the true metal of your iman is forged in the fire of this specific silence, the silence of the unanswered dua for something you deeply, earnestly desired. What our limited human perception fails to grasp in that moment of acute pain is the grand, cosmic scale of Allah's knowledge versus our own. We are like a small child in a vast, complex city, crying because a parent refuses to let them touch a beautiful but dangerously hot stove. The child only sees the shimmering, fascinating surface. They cannot comprehend the concept of third-degree burns. They feel the parent's prevention as cruelty, not as the ultimate act of protection it truly is. Similarly, we, from our vantage point, trapped within the linear timeline of our lives, see only the appealing facade of the closed door. We cannot see the labyrinth of consequences that lies behind it. That perfect job might have come with a culture that would have eroded your faith, or hours that would have permanently severed your connection with the Quran and the masjid. That ordeal person who seemed so charming might have carried a hidden pain or a fundamental incompatibility that would have turned your marriage into a battlefield of the soul, slowly choking the spiritual life out of you. That lucrative business deal might have been built on a foundation of ethical compromise, a ripple that would have eventually tainted your wealth, your reputation, and the purity of your heart. Allah, in His infinite wisdom as Al-Hakim, is not just managing your immediate request, He is orchestrating the entire tapestry of your life, a tapestry whose threads extend far beyond your own existence into the lives of your future children, your family, and your eternal destiny in the Akhirah. He sees the entire map, while you are focused on a single, seemingly blocked road. His closure is not a punishment for your desire, it is a manifestation of His divine attribute of Ar-Raqib, the watchful overseer. He is protecting you from a harm you cannot see, a spiritual poison wrapped in the glittering paper of worldly desire. This is the profound truth behind the Quranic verse that should be a constant balm for our aching hearts, Asas. But perhaps you hate a thing and it is good for you, and perhaps you love a thing and it is bad for you. And Allah knows while you know not. Ask Quran 2 Signs 2006. This verse is not just a nice saying, It is a fundamental law of the universe as real as the law of gravity. Our hate, our frustration, our sadness, our disappointment at a blocked path is often the very indicator that what we are experiencing is in fact good for us in a way we have not yet comprehended. Therefore, the closed door is never a dead end. It is a divine redirect. It is Allah, the most kind and merciful, gently but firmly taking your hand and turning you away from a precipice you are too distracted to notice. He is guiding you towards a different path, one that your soul truly needs for its growth and salvation, even if your ego is currently screaming in protest. Think of the story of Prophet Musa ASS. He was forced to flee from Egypt, a man with a price on his head, a door to his home and community violently slammed shut. In that moment, it must have felt like a catastrophic failure, the end of his mission before it even began. But that closed door was the very thing that led him to Madian, that led him to his wife, that prepared him for his eventual return to confront Pharaoh with a strength and wisdom he did not previously possess. The entire trajectory of his prophethood was shaped by that initial terrifying no. So, what is the faithful response when you find yourself standing before that stubbornly closed door? The first step is to actively surrender your limited understanding. You must consciously affirm, "Why Allah, I wanted this, but you know what I do not know. You see what I cannot see. I trust your plan over my desire." This is the essence of tawakkul. The second step is to look around. When one door closes, a window or even another better door often cracks open elsewhere. It might be a sudden, unexpected opportunity that you hadn't considered. It might be a sense of peace that descends upon you now that the struggle for that specific outcome is over. It might be the opening of your heart to a different, more profound dua. The closed door forces you to lift your gaze from a single spot and survey the horizon of other possibilities that Allah has made available to you. It is an invitation to explore, to grow, and to develop a resilience that is only born through surrendered trust. In the end, that closed door, which you perceived as a sign of Allah's absence, becomes the most profound evidence of His active, loving, and silent help. He is not ignoring your knocks. He is, with the utmost care, guiding your hand away from the wrong door and towards the one that leads to a home you couldn't have even dreamed of for yourself. There is a subtle, often overlooked transformation that occurs within a heart that is gradually being drawn closer to its Creator. It does not usually announce itself with a grand, theatrical moment of revelation. Instead, it manifests in the quiet, private spaces of your life. It is the moment you are about to engage in a gossip session, your mouth already forming the words, when a sudden, inexplicable restraint pulls you back. It is the feeling of unease that settles in your stomach when you consider skipping and prayer for no good reason, a discomfort that wasn't there before. It is the lack of satisfaction you feel after indulging in a sin that once provided a fleeting sense of pleasure or release. This, my dear brothers and sisters, is not you becoming dull or losing your edge in the world. This is not a deprivation of life's joys. On the contrary, this is one of the most profound and merciful signs that Allah is helping you silently, working on the very core of your being, your heart. To understand this, we must first comprehend the nature of the heart in Islam. It is not merely the physical organ pumping blood. It is the qalb, the spiritual center of a human being, the seat of intellect, faith, and perception. This heart, in its pure, primordial state, is a receptacle for divine light, a mirror designed to reflect the truth of its Lord. However, sin acts like dirt, grime, and rust thrown upon this mirror. Each transgression, each act of disobedience, each glance, word, or deed that goes against the command of Allah leaves a stain. Initially, these stains are light. We may not even feel them. The sin might still feel good or exciting because the heart, though tarnished, is still capable of feeling base desires. But as the stains accumulate, a spiritual corrosion sets in. The mirror becomes duller and duller, its ability to reflect the divine light diminished. This is the state of a heart that is becoming sick, a condition Allah warns us about in the Quran, Saf. In their hearts is a disease, and Allah has increased their disease, and for them is a painful punishment because they habitually used to lie. That's Quran 2:100. The growing aversion to sin is the direct result of Allah, out of His infinite mercy, beginning to polish this mirror. He sends the gentle rain of His guidance to wash away the grime. This polishing is a process. It is the divine attribute of Al-Wadud, the most loving, manifesting in your spiritual life. He is not waiting to punish you for every mistake. He is actively helping you to make fewer of them. How does this happen? It happens through the increasing weight of Iman, faith in your heart. A man has a taste of sweetness, as the Prophet Muhammad, and peace be upon him, indicated when he described the sweetness of faith as being for one who finds pleasure in being a believer. When you sincerely declare La ilaha illallah and strive to live by it, it is not just a phrase on your tongue, it is a seed planted in the heart. With the water of prayer, the sunlight of Quranic recitation, and the fertile soil of good deeds, this seed grows into a mighty tree. Its roots sink deep into your consciousness, and its shade begins to cover the barren patches where sins once easily grew. This is why the sin that once felt effortless now feels like a struggle. You are not the same person you were before. The spiritual you has grown larger and stronger. When you now approach a sin, you are not just a desire confronting an action. You are a heart fortified with faith confronting an act of disobedience. There is an internal conflict, a civil war within the soul. This conflict is a sign of life. It is the sign of a healthy, functioning spiritual immune system. A dead heart feels nothing. It can plunge into the deepest, darkest sins without a flicker of regret. It is the living, believing heart that feels the pinch, the friction, the profound sense of being out of alignment with its true purpose. This feeling of unease, this knot in your stomach, is the Noor, the divine light that Allah has placed in your heart. It is acting as a spiritual alarm system, blaring a warning when you are nearing spiritual danger. This is Allah helping you silently by making the path of misguidance feel bumpy and uncomfortable, so that you are naturally inclined to seek the smooth, lit path of righteousness. Do not ever mourn the loss of the pleasure you once derived from disobedience. That pleasure was an illusion, a deception from Shaitan to make the disease feel like a cure. It was the temporary thrill of the poison before it shut down your organs. When Allah makes sin feel bitter to you, He is replacing a false, destructive sweetness with the potential for a true, enduring one. He is curing you of a spiritual illness. Think of a diabetic who craves sugar. Giving in to the craving brings a momentary satisfaction, but worsens the underlying disease. When a doctor puts him on a strict diet, the sweets he once loved now seem unappealing, even dangerous. His taste buds have changed because his body is healing. Similarly, your spiritual taste buds are being healed. The bitterness you now feel towards sin is not a loss. It is the clearest indicator that your soul is recovering its health. It is a sign that you are developing what the scholars call taqwa, a conscious awareness of Allah that makes you love what He loves and hate what He hates. So, the next time you feel that inner pull away from a sin, do not dismiss it. Acknowledge it. Thank Allah for it. It is a silent, intimate gift from your Lord, a direct intervention in the battlefield of your soul, proving that He is closer to you than you are to yourself, and that He is helping you even in the deepest silence of your struggles.